Good evening to Dr. Hani and my fellow friends. Today our group will be presenting our topic that is mental health disorder among university students. This is the table of contents which consists of introduction, causes, argument and solution. So I will give the floor to my next group member to continue with the introduction.
Everybody's super excited to go to college, and of course I was as well. But I had no idea that transition from high school to college would be so difficult. I think the first sign for me was I was super tired. I was just so tired. Every night, every day, I just wanted to sleep.
Things got more hectic, I got more anxious and depressed being in a new place.
One night, I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be just in this world anymore.
There was one day when I went back to my apartment that I really felt like I was going to do something bad to myself. And so I contacted a behavioral center, and I ended up going there for 2 days. Going to the behavioral center ended up being a positive experience for me because that's when I started going on medication. Going to counseling kind of helped me understand why I was cutting and what else I could be doing, instead of self-harming.
I absolutely think that the combination of therapy and medication can be really, really good. You don't have to be a completely new person just because you go to college. Like, the things and the baggage that you had in high school, they might come with you to college, and that's totally okay. Like, you don't have to be the perfect person.
There is a science behind depression, and it's not just something that you make up in your head. It's very real.
Assalamualaikum and good evening to everyone. I hope you guys are doing fine and stay in a pink conditions. My name is Hazziq Amsyar bin HASSAN. I will start our group presentation. Okay, consider that statistically speaking, you are one of these people that you just shook hand when we will likely experience mental illness at some point in your lifetime. 43.8 million adults experience mental health illness each year. That's a high prevalence of mental illness. Yet, why is it something we are still afraid to talk about? In October, everything is pink for breast cancer. In November, men grew out all their facial hair for prostate cancer. And while all of these are important, we often forget or don't realize that mental illness is among the #1 causes of disability in our country. Depression is #1 cause of disability worldwide. Suicide rates continue to climb up among adults, adolescents, and children. The opioid crisis continues to devastate our community, yet we are still not encouraged enough to talk about mental illness. Why? From that, I will bring you through the slides for brief information. From this statement, it is not about mental illness or mental disorder. This is just one part of a bigger picture. It's best to think about mental health as being in a continuum rather than people being mentally ill or mentally well. We all on the continuum, and we move up and down according to factors. The first factor is genetic makeup. Second is life circumstance. And third is the stresses that we live in. Aim of mental health intervention is to move people up so they are able to reach their full potential. Life as a student is the utmost experience and valuable span of progress. Through the process, a part of the journey towards success is for students to feel the up and down of life especially when handling things on their own. Students that manage to fix their own headache can focus on their priority as a student, normally without problem. Therefore, we should not take it easy when it comes to students. They have their right to get an education, and a favorable mental state is critical for them to continue their studies. Everyone reacts differently when dealing with problems. This is the turning point that could affect the students psychologically positive or the opposite. In addition, the student inability to resolve their own problem may cause them to mentally ill if things go on repeatedly. Because of that, this paper will investigate the causes that affect the students toward mental illness and way to overcome it. So I will give it to RAIMI to explain about the causes. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and good evening to Dr. Rohani and my fellow friend. So hello everyone, my name is Muhammad Raimi and I will introduce to you the four main causes that contributed on how our university student get exposed to mental health disorder. So there are a lot of factors that lead to our topic, but we only shortlist to four main causes because based on the article that we have been studying, these four main causes have provide a more evidence on how university student can expose to mental health disorder. So the four main causes are the number one is unhealthy eating behavior. Number two, traumatized to some event or problem. Number three, inability to cope with studies. And number four is still fresh in the year of 2021, which are pandemic issue. The first reason is unhealthy eating behavior. So you all must be thinking how our eating can damage our mental, right? So there are study or research that conduct on University of Brunei Darussalam that study on how students practice their eating habit. So based on 303 participants, only 71 that consume vegetable and fruit every day, which mean only 20% of them. So it's very low. Then it show that students are not taking care of their eating habit. So unhealthy eating behavior can cause more problem to students physical, such as weight problem. I mean, like maybe you will become underweight if you not taking enough of protein, or maybe you will become obesity if you taking a lot of fat. So there are citations where students with obesity are more exposed to depression. So this is maybe because students will feel insecure with their body, or maybe they have a judgmental friend that make funny about their body. So this all thing can lead to mental illness such as anxiety or depression. So this is the concrete proof or justification on how our eating can damage our physical and also our mental health. So the student with will that insecure will practice the unhealthy weight loss, such as taking a medical pill or something, etc. So this is very dangerous to their physical and also their mental. Next, the second reasons that lead student to mental problem is traumatized to some event and peer problem. So as a university student, we commonly dealing with this peer problems, such as not having a good friend, relationship problem, or being bullied. So this experience maybe happen before the students enter the university or while in the university. So all these things look very little, but it can cause the students having a bad time which they will feel isolated, or maybe they will feel hard to share to others. So all of this will affect their mental, which they will get anxiety or depression, or scared to make a new friends. So this is, yes, this will become worse when the student choose to keep quiet and not searching for help. So yes, again, I think that this peer problem are also causing the student exposed to mental health disorder. So on to the next one. The third cause that we will discussing today is inability to cope with university life. So some students are very durable and very good in adapting to new place, but there are some students who are having a hard time to shift from secondary school to college and then to university life. So this is maybe because all the institution have a different system, such as when in the university the system are very fast. I mean, like the coursework, the project, and the assignment, and also the syllabus need to catch up in the shortened period. So some students are having a hard time to deal with it, so they will feel worried and maybe stressed, and it will create intense onto their mental. So maybe the consequence of that, they will get a bad academic result, such as exam, or maybe they will repeat some subject. So however, most of you think only weak student will deal with this, but no, the brilliant student that are very good in academic also will have the burden of university life. So for example, when the student had a pressure from people around, or maybe high expectation from their parent, so they will feel stressed, and maybe their mental will get the impact from that. So it shows that adapting to university life is not something easy, and I think people should taking care and of ability to cope with university life, so you will not exposed to mental health problems such as anxiety or maybe depression. We are near to the finish line, where this is the fourth and the last course that we will review. So the causes is a pandemic issue. Yes, this issue is still new to us. It's still fresh, and in the year of 2021. So as we know, COVID-19 impact is very clear to the worldwide. Economy, health, and also education are the sector that are the most suffer from the pandemic. So as student, we also get the consequence of precaution from government to take care of taking care the pandemic, like PKP, ODL, and etc. So all of this give a significant disturbance to activity of student daily life. It means there are some prevention towards students to go socialize, or maybe doing a study group, and of course this will impair their academy, because when you do a face-to-face learning, and between the open and distant learning, it shows that face-to-face learning will be more effective. So lot of students cannot adapt with this, and it will make their self-confidence or motivation goes down, which leads to mental health problems. Next, existing tension at home due to many reasons. Yes, living at home might be heaven for someone, but people said home sweet home. But there are students having stress when you studying at home. I mean like the condition, or maybe the internet connection, and etc. To all this prolonged experience in such a stress and pressure increase the risk developing a mental health issue. So from the New Star, as cite in the article, general anxiety of financial security, contracting the deadly virus, and significant disruption to activity of daily living, this pressure can become unbearable. So this means that when we are very worried to our study, I mean like we feel insecure that can we make this semester, we also need to worry about contracting to the virus. So it become a double problem to students. So yes, the student will become more stressed, and maybe they will feel give up to continue their study, which maybe lead to the worst mental health illness which they give up to their life. So yes, it proved that this pandemic are very impacting almost everyone, including students. Alright everyone, so that's all from me, that I already introduced to you four main causes that lead students to mental health problem. You all may agree or not disagree with this, because this, the fight the findings and data may not represent a majority of students. So thank you for the chance given, and I will pass to my next teammate that will discuss the argument on causes of mental health problem among students. So you may take the floor. Thank you.
Okay, my name is IQWAN bin HOZAIDAN, and I will discuss about the counter argument for each causes that leads to mental health disorder. For the first argument, it is for the first point, which is about unhealthy eating behavior. Unhealthy eating behavior will only impact physically, not mental. Bish and Harry state that unhealthy eating behavior will cause more problem to student physical. This thing can be happen when we are having a supportive friend or surrounded by non-judgmental people. As we know, the people who we make as friends will contribute to our mental condition. By having this kind of people, students' mental may not be harmful if they got physical issue. It is because people who are surrounding him or her will understand and keep supporting them. Mental pressure also will get removed when the student don't mind about their physical appearance. Some of them are loved with their own personality and be confident about their own appearance. They don't mind if they don't have an ideal body. Okay, for the traumatic event point, the counter statement is the traumatic event does not happen frequently. Traumatic event is such a bad event happen in their past in which it will not frequently happen in their life. We know that the trauma will come when they are in traumatic scene. Thus, they will have much time which is free from the trauma situation and can use it to slowly recover from the trauma. It is not impossible to fully recover from the trauma if they found the best method. Allocate time for leisure to give some rest to the mind. Based on this citation by Sunny, it is clearly justified time as a medicine to our mental health. So, students that having trauma need to use the time wisely to learn from the past event. Okay, next, during the pandemic situation, students are in the comfort zone. They just need to stay and study at home. The situation when staying at home and campus is quite different. Some students are more relaxed when at home compared at the campus. At home, they don't need to think about activities, walking to the class, and how to survive while in campus. As what we experience, some of the class, the lecturer just give the recorded video to learn and no live session. So their table and daily routine will be more flexible, in which they may have more time to relax and rest and no stresses. Besides, they don't need to think about how to survive, to find food, to gain money, search for rent house. They don't need to think that at home. At home, all needs are prepared, such as food, entertainment, comfortable room, and also their family. They don't need to walk every day to find all of it. From that, they can save their money and have a stable financial. This citation from Kosluk Al-Koja 2016 shown that pandemic issue is debatably causes of the mental disorder happen among university students. For the last argument, everybody has different reaction to a new environment. Some of students came from college or matriculation or boarding school before true university life. So they have their own experience from that. They can use it as a guide and blend it well with university cultures, which is found unnatural for students without any reliant self-skill. Also, they are students who come with zero knowledge, but rather with high spirit to be independent. In other words, they are willing to learn all kinds of tips and tricks for their own sake. This kind of attitude and mindset that differentiate the students, whether each of them capable enough to the last.
Good evening to Dr. Wahani and my fellow friends. I will continue by presenting the solution to overcome mental health disorder. There are 4 points to be considered. That is, healthy eating habits, forget the traumatic past event, adapt with pandemic, and cope with university lifestyle. For the first solution, that is healthy eating habits, for students that are depressed because of overweight, they should take healthy breakfast every day like oats, bananas, and eggs because it contains nutrients like vitamins, carbohydrates, and proteins which is needed by our body to do activities and stay focused throughout the day. Students should also practice balanced diet by balancing the amount of calories consumed and calories burned throughout physical activities such as jogging to get ideal weight. Students should also avoid taking diet pill because it may contain chemical ingredients which is harmful to the body. Instead, they should follow the correct guideline to do exercise and diet. Students should always drink plenty of water to avoid dehydration. Moving on to the second solution, that is forget the traumatic past event. For the students that are having their mind disturbed by negative past event, they can go get some advice and guide from counselor or psychiatric on how to handle their problems or get therapy for a further and extensive treatment. Exposure treatment, exposure therapy is one of the therapy method which the patient will be exposed to a situation which will trigger them the fear and panic feelings into the patient itself towards their past event. Over the time, this controlled exposure will help the patient to reduce their distress towards their past event. For the third solution, that is adapt with pandemic, this is more focused on the university authorities. To ensure students can adapt with the new normal, universities authority must strengthen the communication between students, lecturers, and the university itself by coordinating all the platforms used to update information, such as True Group, WhatsApp Group, Telegram, Instagram, and the university's website, so that the information given will reach every student. This is to avoid any misunderstanding or misinformation among students that may confuse them during their studies. The university's authorities should also give data package to students that are having problem with their internet connection at home, and also to students that cannot afford to buy any data plan because of financial issue. This will help in reducing their stress and burden to continue their online classes. For the last but not least solution, cope with university life. For students that are facing difficulties at universities, they should maintain their sense of self-care, studies and delivering coursework to organizing everything that need to be done according to its priority on available schedule, so that it does not burden them later on, like submitting reports and assignments on time and sleep early to get enough rest. Students should also engage with peers through class activities and students program to build and strengthen the bond between them, so that they can mingle with each other without hesitation. Students should also consider to allocate time for leisure or take a break. This can give their mind some rest by doing activities like sightseeing. This is a chance for them to refresh themselves after hours long of studying, which put tension on their mind. Lastly, the student should also find friends that have same interests with them and can support each other, especially during hard time. Whenever they encounter any sorts of problem, their companion are there to help them first. And that's conclude my presentation of the solution to overcome mental health disorder. I will give the floor to my next member, group members, for the conclusion. Thank you.
In conclusion, even though university students have long been exposed to mental illness due to a lot of causes, the importance about taking care of mental health are still not emphasized by peoples. Thus, the awareness should be globally spread out to prevent worse impact to university students. Due to mental health problems, receiving help is the most important thing anyone can do for themselves. But unfortunately, the stigma keeps people from getting help. Mental illness should not be something to be ashamed about or thought of differently. When mental illness is treated equally to other illness, more people will have the courage to get help and better their life. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.